I pretended to forgive them for years. I smiled at their jokes, nodded when they belittled my work, and even stayed late to fix projects that weren't mine, all while secretly planning my ultimate comeback. Nobody suspected a thing. Not the people who humiliated me, not the ones who laughed behind my back, not the colleagues who pretended to be my friends. My name is Taylor Emerson, and tonight, everything changes. Tonight, they'll realize too late that the person they crushed is now the one holding all the cards. It all began 6 years ago at Benson and Company, a mid-sized marketing firm that prided itself on talent-driven culture but thrived on favoritism. I was 23, eager, idealistic, believing that hard work would lead to recognition. Instead, I became the office scapegoat. My colleague, Blake Carter, acted like he was untouchable, always taking credit for my ideas while wearing that smug grin that made my stomach twist. And then there was Vanessa Cole, everyone's golden girl, who laughed at his jokes while subtly sabotaging me. At first, I tried to prove myself. I stayed late, I volunteered for extra tasks, I tried to speak up in meetings. But every effort backfired. Every suggestion I made was dismissed, every report I submitted ignored. I even watched as a promotion I deserved went to Blake, someone less experienced, less competent, but far better at office politics. I felt humiliated, crushed, and invisible, but somewhere inside me, anger quietly turned to steel. I decided that I wouldn't just leave, I would rise. When I finally quit, I acted broken and disheartened. Everyone assumed I'd been defeated. They didn't notice the faint smirk on my face as I walked out. They didn't know I was already planning my return. For months, I studied them from afar, every project, every client, every weakness in their workflow. I bided my time, learned patience, and waited for the perfect moment to strike, and tonight, that moment had arrived. The company gala, celebrating yearly achievements, was the perfect stage. The ballroom was filled with chatter, laughter, and the glitter of crystal glasses. Blake was leaning against the bar, exuding arrogance, while Vanessa flitted around him, the picture of effortless charm. They had no idea the storm about to descend upon them. I stepped into the room wearing a fitted navy dress, simple jewelry, and confidence that could fill the entire space. My heels clicked against the marble floor, each step deliberate, each sound a countdown to the reckoning I had long planned. Their eyes found me almost instantly. I saw recognition, confusion, then unease flicker across their faces. Blake's jaw tightened. Vanessa's laughter wavered. Perfect. Taylor Emerson, someone whispered behind me. She's back. I smiled politely at my former boss, Philip Green, the man who had overseen my humiliation but never acknowledged my worth. He didn't know whether to be cordial or cautious. I leaned slightly closer. It's wonderful to see the company thriving, I said softly, my tone innocent but dripping with unspoken meaning. I moved into the center of the room, where clients and executives mingled. Every word I spoke was carefully chosen. Every laugh was measured. I subtly referenced projects they had dismissed years ago, projects I had quietly handled for other clients, ones that had succeeded spectacularly. I could feel the shift, the beginning of panic creeping into Blake and Vanessa's composure. When Blake finally approached me, I let the tension stretch between us. He tried his usual charm, fake concern, casual jokes meant to disarm me. I responded with politeness, keeping my gaze steady, my expression calm, but my mind racing. He could sense something different about me. Smarter. Stronger. Unstoppable. Taylor, I didn't expect to see you here, he said, forcing a smile. It's been a while. Yes, it has, I replied smoothly. I've been busy, but I've kept an eye on the company. The subtle undertone let him know I knew more than he thought. And soon, he would realize just how much. The first wave of my revenge came quietly, almost unnoticed. Weeks before the gala, I had reached out to a former client under the guise of reconnecting. They agreed to a project, and I handled everything flawlessly. Blake and Vanessa weren't involved, but the news of the deal reached the office before the gala. I could almost feel their unease when whispers began to circulate. Did you hear Taylor closed that client? I thought she left years ago. Then came the social media strategy. A simple LinkedIn post, highlighting my achievements and tagging influential clients. The post quickly gained traction. The stats spoke for themselves: projects delivered ahead of schedule, clients thrilled, measurable impact. My former coworkers saw it all, their pride shattered by a quiet, calculated revelation: I had been working, growing, winning, while they remained stagnant. The real climax, though, was during the gala awards. Philip Green stepped to the podium to announce a special recognition for outstanding contributions. One by one, names were called, all tied to projects I had guided behind the scenes. And then, my name. Taylor Emerson, he said. The room fell silent. Blake's confident posture faltered. Vanessa's laughter disappeared. I walked to the stage, each step deliberate, each click of my heels echoing like a drumbeat of justice. I accepted the award with a calm, knowing smile. No words were needed. They understood. I had endured, I had grown, and now, I had triumphed. After the applause, I returned to my table, letting murmurs fill the space. Blake attempted a joke. His attempt at humor feeble and awkward. I nodded politely, eyes locked on him, communicating everything without saying a word. I was no longer the one to be dismissed. I was the one in control. Later, I stepped onto the balcony, breathing in the cool night air, the city lights sparkling like reminders of the opportunities one had seized. My phone buzzed, messages from clients, congratulations from colleagues, offers I had carefully nurtured. I allowed myself a private smile. Every tear, every sleepless night, every planning session, it had all led to this moment. This wasn't just revenge. It was liberation. It was proof that intelligence, patience, and strategy could overcome humiliation. As I looked back at the gala, I saw Blake and Vanessa huddled together, whispering frantically, trying to piece together how the person they had crushed had risen above them. I whispered to myself, I pretended to forgive you. But tonight, I revealed the truth. Walking away from the gala, the city alive with possibilities, I realized something else: the real power wasn't revenge, it was reclaiming myself. They had tried to define my worth. They had failed. And in their failure, I found freedom. By the time the gala ended, I was gone, leaving behind whispers, astonishment, and a lesson they would never forget. They had underestimated me, mocked me, and dismissed me, but now, I was unstoppable. The world is full of people who believe they can crush others without consequence. I've learned they're wrong. Silence can be louder than words. Patience sharper than knives. Strategy more powerful than brute force. Tonight, I didn't just win, I transformed humiliation into triumph, mockery into respect, and betrayal into ultimate victory. And the best part? They'll never see my next move coming.